So it's been a while since I've been on here to do any type of health update or Lyme related update. And that is honestly because not much has changed in the past 6 or so months. And if you've been following me on social media, you would know that that is because I am pregnant again. Okay, so as I said, I'm pregnant again. I'm actually 28 weeks along today, which is crazy. Things have gone by super fast. But I wanted to make this video just potentially help anyone that has chronic Lyme and is looking to get pregnant, or is pregnant and has chronic Lyme, or vice versa, whatever. So that'll kind of be what this video is about. Run through how things are different, what I did prior to pregnancy, or I should say like in between pregnancies, and just kind of how everything played out. So stay tuned. Okay, so yeah, 28 weeks. I found out at week 8 that I was pregnant. I wouldn't say I was in denial for a while, but it's kind of interesting once you have your first child and you're a new mom, and at this point Allie was what, like 10 months old, or like on the edge of being 10 months old. You know, still getting into routine, getting into good sleep habits, and like sleeping through the night, and getting her naps in, and then just being busy with school, and then also on top of that dealing with like 4th trimester, I guess you would still call it, like just health things, my body readjusting after giving birth, dealing with Lyme stuff and flares, because I definitely did flare after I had Allie. All my allergies came back. I kind of did a video about that previously that I'll link to below, and that topic is for a whole nother video, as I said. But just getting back into the swing of things, regaining some strength, working out, you know, just my new normal, I guess you could say. So when I started feeling like extra crappy, I honestly thought it was the Lyme. I didn't really think that it was pregnancy related, mainly because even though obviously it's possible to get pregnant before you ovulate, or you ovulate, I didn't have a period. I hadn't gotten my period back with Allie. I was still nursing her a bunch. And while I knew it was possible, I just, of course, didn't think it would actually happen with me. Mainly because with Allie, I needed help getting my ovulation started. And I have videos about that, just my past with endocrine issues and issues with my period. So I needed help from my OBGYN, and I figured that would probably be the case. I had actually just started trying to track my cycle again with basal body temperature. And so I was trying to get like in the back of the swing of things and like get ready for my period to come back. But instead I got pregnant. So as I said, I was not really in denial, but I was kind of like, oh, I feel extra crappy. My husband and I definitely wanted another one, and just in general, we definitely want, you know, I don't want to say many children, but we're open to the idea. I'm open to the idea. And so it wasn't really until the low-grade nausea started that really reminded me of when I was pregnant with Allie, because nausea and all-day morning sickness was a huge thing throughout my first pregnancy. So when that started happening and just constantly nagging me, and then I was just like, I can't really stand the sight of eggs in the morning, and I don't want my fat, and I don't want to see a vegetable in front of me, that's when I was like, okay, pretty sure I should buy some pregnancy tests. And they both came back very positive very quickly, and so that was our surprise at around 8 weeks of pregnancy. And yeah. So last time, one thing that I loved about pregnancy was that my mast cell activation disorder, allergy related reactions and all that type of thing, they drastically decreased. And with Allie in the first pregnancy, it wasn't really until like into my second trimester that I had some significant like remission with my reactions, and I could actually handle things like chocolate. I didn't get as adventurous because the reactions were still pretty noticeable. This time, however, though, it was pretty like, I don't want to say instant, but it's like my body caught on a lot faster. And along with the nausea, I also kind of noticed, oh, you know what? Like, I didn't react to eating that almond or that type of thing. So since then, I mean, I pretty much eat almond butter every day, which is not something that I would have been able to handle histamine wise prior to this pregnancy. I eat chocolate, dark chocolate on a regular basis, which again is not something I would have been able to tolerate. Besides that, it's kind of ingrained in my mind to not overload my histamine bucket, as that would be like an analogy, is like the bucket and how much histamine you put in and then how much your body can like process out. So I still am conscious of that. I will happily eat seafood. I love the thought of seafood, but I'm not going to eat it every day because I know that the histamine will build up in my body. I just won't feel well. But I will happily eat it. About the only thing that I won't touch as far as like reaction histamine wise, aside from gluten, I don't touch that. I don't touch grains still because they just don't do well with me. Just lost it. Oh, tomatoes. I don't deal with nightshades still. So that's kind of like the only thing as far as like AIP introductions or whatever. Yeah, so long story short, my reactions have gotten a lot better. My processing of like histamine and all that stuff has gotten a lot better, and even more so than my first pregnancy. Other differences between this pregnancy and my first. With my first pregnancy, like I said, I had really bad morning sickness and nausea all through, like up and into the second trimester. With this pregnancy, I had a little bit at the beginning, but it wasn't like debilitating, and it wouldn't make my head super heavy and like unable to function. It was more just strictly in my GI tract type of thing. I definitely had some food aversions. Again, vegetables, it's funny, I just struggled, and I do better now. But definitely at the beginning, and I did crave more carbs and all that stuff. Plantain chips were always my go-to. But besides that, the nausea really hasn't been bad. It might come and go in little like spurts, and I'm just like, this is terrible, go away. But nothing compared to the first pregnancy. And coupled with that is working out. So like, I mean, I was 8 weeks pregnant, still working out like I wasn't pregnant at all. It never really affected me physically like that as in my first pregnancy, where I just stopped working out completely because I felt like my body was just telling me you need to take it slow, like you can hardly handle like walking up the stairs. But this pregnancy, I've felt completely safe and great working out. I still do my cross training, CrossFit type workouts, just modifying where I need to. And honestly, like, I feel like it helps me feel more human this time around. So that's been great. It helps keep me sane, especially since all this quarantine, stay at home, kids at home, no school, online school, all of that has been going on. So I'm definitely grateful for that. And that's about it for the major differences, I would say. So what does all of this have to do with Lyme? Well, I guess you could say, I think the reduced morning sickness and just overall feeling better and more like myself does have to do with some of the things that I did in between pregnancies. Aside from it being a boy, which I know some people say you'll have like less nausea with a boy or whatnot. I did a lot of detoxing, I guess you could say. And while I would consider myself, or would have considered myself very healthy and detox, I guess you could say, prior to being pregnant with Allie, I didn't have an infrared sauna, and that was a change between the first pregnancy and now. I was doing it consistently on a weekly basis. Prior to finding out I was pregnant, I would practically do it 4 or 5 times a week, just because it felt good. It was cold, like cold outside, so again, that felt good. And I just felt like it was really helping me a lot. So I think doing that, I can't give you the exact reasons why I think it helped, but I definitely think it did. There is a book by Dave Asprey's wife called The Better Baby Book, I believe, and it kind of goes into talking about how when a mother's like toxic load is lower, the potential for them having terrible morning sickness and all that is also lower, and talking about the correlations between the two. So while I don't have all the evidence that my infrared saunas and then my continued colonics and coffee enemas necessarily helped me have less nausea, I definitely believe there is a correlation, and I believe what Dave Asprey's wife is talking about in that book. It's a very good book. I definitely recommend it. But yeah, and so aside from doing that, I mean, honestly, in between pregnancies, that's the big factor that was different. I spoke about it in some other video that I did do some treatment as far as like with GI bugs. I can't say that I had those prior to Allie. I don't know. Things just really flared after I gave birth, so that's kind of a different story for a different time. But again, the infrared saunas, being consistent with activated charcoal, coffee enemas, and colonics, I just really think that added bonus of the infrared saunas had a really big impact on how I'm feeling now. As far as Lyme and how I'm feeling with that and Lyme treatments, so I've continued my Desbio homeopathic series. I feel like a broken record saying this because I think I've said it in so many videos, but it has been the big factor that has helped just keep my symptoms at bay with the Bartonella and keep my interstitial cystitis symptoms at bay, which definitely spiked again after giving birth. And I still have to watch. I can't eat too many bladder irritants because they will come back even though I am pregnant. Actually, it's interesting. With the first pregnancy, I feel like they were more suppressed, the symptoms and the pain in my bladder, than this time around. I feel like this time around I have to be more careful, but at the same time, it might also likely be the fact that I'm eating things that would be considered bladder irritants. So I just have to watch that. But as far as Lyme symptoms, I haven't had any like major flares. My feet have hurt a lot more this pregnancy. I don't know if it's Lyme related or Bartonella related. I know in the past my foot pain likely has been. This time around, I don't know if it's just from walking different, like movement of my organs and bodily structure and all that, just from being pregnant, and then running around after a 15-month-old and taking care of 2 other kids and doing my intensive classes and just, you know, everything that comes with life. So I don't really know what the foot pain is from, honestly. I haven't found any correlation between taking my Desbio treatment and the foot pain. Chiropractor can't really help. The one thing I haven't tried is acupuncture, just because, well, time. And also things have been super weird with like what's been open and what hasn't been in the city. So I just haven't even got there this pregnancy. But besides that, after I take my Desbio treatment, per usual, most times I do feel crappier, but I schedule my colonics to be after I take the treatment. Helps clear things out. I might feel like a little not so great for like the next 24 hours, but once things clear out and get back into like how they like running optimally, then I feel fine. So as far as the birth goes, with Allie, I was planning to go through the birth center, and then she ended up being breached last minute, and so I ended up having to get a planned C-section at 39 weeks. This time around, I have switched up a few things through the course of my pregnancy, but as of now, I have a midwife, I have a doula, and I'm planning on doing a home birth. We will see what happens. I have no idea. I'm hoping and praying that our baby boy is not breached, but I do have a slight bicornuate. I know how to spell it. I'm bad at pronouncing it. My uterus is heart-shaped slightly, nothing major, but we believe that contributed to Allie being breached last time, and so of course I'm hoping that that doesn't happen this time around. There's no telling really at this point if it is or not. So if he is, then we will go on a different path. If he is not, we will happily continue on the home birth path. So I'll definitely keep you guys all updated about that, and then of course post birth depending on what happens. But yeah, that is what we are planning on. Just maintenance, overall health maintenance of my body. I've continued doing chiropractic care regularly. I do my colonics regularly. I still do coffee enemas regularly because I like to take my dysbio dose twice a week. And obviously, not obviously, but I'm not gonna go get a colonic twice a week. So I'll just do coffee enema once a week. I can still work out. So another thing that about like the working out is I'm able to sweat, which has always been huge for me. If I don't sweat, I just feel locked in my skin, and like I'm just not processing toxins and just anything optimally. So the fact that I can sweat on a daily basis, or mostly daily basis, has definitely helped. I still take I take my prenatal. I took that all throughout post-pregnancy as well. I never stopped taking it. I take a B12, I take probiotics, my magnesium, nothing major. The only Lyme related thing would be the dysbio. And then when I feel like my stomach is being weird and similar to how it was when the bugs that we found in there were really bad, I will hop back on a high dose of grapefruit seed extract, but that's not a consistent thing. And then again, activated charcoal, I try and stay on top of, not every day, but on a weekly basis, I guess you could say. And like I said, I haven't actually gotten back to acupuncture. I still rebound. I'm still a big proponent of rebounding, moving your lymph. And besides that, I mean, everything's pretty simple and straightforward at this point. So that's about it. Honestly, there aren't much changes in my health or how I'm feeling. I don't know. Life just goes on. There isn't, a lot of people will reach out to me and ask, like, what do you think helped you get pregnant as someone with chronic Lyme, and to get your co-infections and infections at bay so that, you're in a healthy enough place where the Lyme won't harm your baby. And honestly, there's not one thing, because I think the real answer to that question is all the years prior of all the different treatments that I did, PK protocol, IVIG, the different, herbal and homeopathic series, just I've done so many things. And so again, that's another video for another time. But yeah, they're really, I can't answer that concisely. This time around, I like to believe that, and the first time, God definitely had something to do with it, because I honestly didn't know if I'd be able to get pregnant again, or pregnant without some sort of help from my OBGYN of like, okay, let's put you on this and then cycle you through this, and it'll get your cycle going and help you ovulate, and then maybe you'll get pregnant. But we didn't have to do any of that. So I like to think, you know, God had his hand in it, but also I feel like a big part of dealing with a chronic illness and healing from a chronic illness is your body relearning what it means to be healthy and just kind of work how it should. And so, like I said earlier, like it's like my body knew what to do this time. So it did what it was taught last time. And so, I mean, I don't know what to say beyond that, really, honestly. So I hope this video was helpful for some of you. If you have any questions, of course, please feel free to reach out on my Instagram or email. It's probably the best way to reach me. But yeah, I'll definitely check back in, hopefully before our little guy comes. But if not, I will see you around.